Good morning and welcome to Fitch Painting and Repairs Garage. Today's project, set of carburetors. These are the original ones off my bike. And we've had some issues with the vacuum slide pistons. And specifically, what we're having an issue with is we had damaged them when we changed the engine. And we're looking to replace them. The diaphragm slides, I had poked a tiny little hole and did some silicone repair to it, and we've had nothing but problems ever since. And I followed this tutorial, looked up VT700c replacement online. A very knowledgeable individual, says he's in the business of doing this, recommended a procedure, and what the procedure ended up being was to remove the old diaphragm, clipping these little O-ring, these plastic washers off, and replacing the diaphragm. And the way that these were set up was you had this plastic clip was on here. And then you had this you had a plastic clip on there. And then this. And then this black one goes around the top and holds that in place. You put this on here. And I probably could have reused these clips. Possibly, but it's very, very tight putting this back together, and a piece of it's missing. Doesn't seem to be right. Had it upside down. No, I don't think it really matters. Well, anyways, this thing goes around here, and then clips go back on, and you just line everything up. Alright, so this is the problem. Getting that plastic clip back on there and relocating it so that the diaphragm stays in place. So I found with this particular machine, what we're having to do is buy old used parts and hope that they're good and put them back together. So we bought another set of carburetors from a local supply place, and we're in the process of going through them and cleaning them. Now I did find that one of the slides is slightly damaged, just slightly, and we might be able to fix it and put it back into service, and that's the plan. And if not, if anybody can tell me where to find these things, and for this to be done properly, these aren't circlips in any way. These are supposed to be fully, intact, and this is what the other one looks like, and that's the reason why we ended up having to buy another set of carburetors, because you can't seem to find these plastic O-rings anywhere. And the reason being is because it requires a machine shop to do this. You see this groove? That's where everything sits, and this lip up here is machined over. And so this is normally straight when it's manufactured. Everything's put together and sandwiched, and then this is pressed and that lip's rolled over, and that's what holds it in place. Oh, what a nightmare we walked into. So we're hoping that this other set of carburetors that we got locally solves our problem, and we can move on and getting the sidecar package back together. So that's where we're at with the Honda carburetors and the sidecar project right now. It's not a lot of fun having to deal with this kind of stuff, you know, trying to figure it out. What we found out was we went through the carburetors. The 83 through 85 is a different size. The diaphragms are different size. And just a second and I'll show you what I mean. So 1983 through 1985, they produced a VT700c Shadow as well. Same engine, different frame, different air intake assemblies, and the carburetors are different. Just slightly different. And the big difference is this diaphragm. Alright, we'll show you. Alright, here's the top. Line it up with the top of that. It's considerably longer and considerably larger around. The diaphragms, but they're identical in other ways, you know. But see here, this one's only got, that's a divot on the top, a needle hole for the jet needle, and then you got your vacuum lift hole. This one's got two, no divot. Considerably larger around and quite a bit longer. So the 83 through 85 carburetors will not work on this machine. That's the big difference. Otherwise, they look identical. They're the same look about them, everything. Sit on the engine the same way, but the airbox assembly on the bike is totally different. That one actually has a airbox mounted up in between. It has like a Y backbone. It open, you know, it's two pipes, and inside the center sits the airbox. A lot, you know, you guys Suzuki guys, you all know about that, and Yamaha guys, they all have similar setup on them. So what we're doing is figuring things out as we go. This machine has some unique things about it, and we're kind of at the point now where we're just trying to preserve the machine in a running condition, hook it back up to the sidecar, and deal with performance issues. That's where we're at, because we have other projects to move on to. We want to get this back into a running condition. It was in a running condition. It was just lagging and not wanting to go above 60 miles an hour. And so we needed to get back into the carburetors and fix that diaphragm. Unfortunately, the diaphragms I purchased and the repair I did didn't seem to solve the problem. Here's the new projects. Anybody interested? We've got a couple vintage Triumph motorcycles. These are 650 trophies. Everybody calls them Bonnevilles, but Bonneville is the the subcategory is trophy. That's what model this one is. It's a 650 trophy. This one here, the teal blue one, is registered as a 63. That's the frame. Engine's a 66. And this one over here, the red chopper, is a 67. Engine on a 1976 custom frame. I don't know if anybody's ever seen one of these. It's a custom rigid with some springs on the back wheel. That's unique. I've been told it's called a California Springer frame. It's titled out of Pennsylvania. It has a Pennsylvania special plate. It's a reconstructed title. So neither one of these are in running condition that I know of. They were barn finds. The individual passed away. The estate was selling them. I was called by a realtor to come out and assess these vehicles for value. And since they were in a non-running condition, we picked them up at a fairly decent price. Now we are still waiting on some paperwork for these machines. And what that means is we're waiting on the titles to be mailed back to us. The estate owner or the executor of the estate had mailed them down here to me but failed to sign them. And so I know the titles are good. I already checked. Everything's good about them. But what I have to do is get this paperwork, the titles, and the other paperwork that accompanies with it. If you buy a motorcycle from somebody who's passed away, there's special rules in regards to transferring those titles. And so since these are vintage machines, after a certain year you have to take them to the DMV to have them inspected. And what they do, because they didn't change over, I believe, until 1980, 1979 or something, to the 13-digit VIN that they currently use. And so the VINs and serial numbers are unique per model. And so we got to take it up there and let them do a physical inspection on the vehicles to make sure. And I've already done basically all that myself and ran the numbers. So as long as they come back and don't have any issues on it, you know, this one is titled as a black machine. It's not black. They've custom painted it. And so, you know, they're not stock in any ways. You know, this one here is the closest to stock, but it's got a, you know, long front end on it. It's, you know, customized a little bit here and there. We're hoping that this one, which has a tag on it, which was last in 2011 registered, that hopefully she's a good runner. But if not, we'll go through them and assess them and see if they're worthy of going back on the road without a whole lot of problems. And if it's going to cost a lot of money, we'll look into, you know, selling to a vintage collector or somebody who is knowledgeable or has the parts and is willing to put them back on the road. But if I can get them running and back on the road, that's the goal. So stay tuned. Today's project, we're going to get the Honda back together with those used new carburetors, and we're going to see if we can get this puppy running again. Stay tuned.